If you look at conservatives, the only people who have cared that much about what bathrooms people are using is a middle school hall monitor who is drunk on power because they have a badge for the first time. They have hall monitor energy.
Trash talking has always had its place in American politics, especially in recent years.
She's dumb as a rock. She's dumb as a rock. You had the group, Crying Chuck, Crazy Nancy.
To the fake Pocahontas, I won't about.
President Donald Trump regularly launches personal attacks against his opponents. But it's not just him. Republicans have used trans slurs during House committee hearings. They've claimed abortion rights protesters are fat and ugly. They've suggested the White House would smell like curry if Kamala Harris was elected president. And historically, the Democratic Party has branded itself as being above all the mudslinging.
Our motto is, when they go low, we go high.
But now, Democrats must contend with being on the losing side of a polarizing presidential election. Republicans hold the majority in both chambers of Congress, and conservatives lead the Supreme Court. To say something isn't working would be an understatement. Now, some Democrats are saying it's time for a change.
I think we just need to rebrand it and make it less about, no, we're not just like these loving, peaceful little crybabies, right?
Take it from viral TikTok influencer Suzanne Lambert, who introduced the internet to the so-called Regina George liberal.
Who does she think she is? I invented her.
Suzanne thinks Democrats should take a page from the burn book itself and fight back.
When I think of a Regina George liberal, she's not afraid, right? I think being unafraid is a big part of it. Regina George in the movie Mean Girls obviously was not afraid to advocate for herself. Look at them. Look at what they're doing, right? They're not afraid.
Suzanne's background in stand-up comedy comes through on her social media. She's unafraid to call out the GOP on everything from their policies to their personal lives. It's sometimes mean or catty or outright politically incorrect, but that's the point.
Last week, I commended Pete Hegseth's ability to multitask given his 5 extramarital affairs. Now go take out your Zen, fire your spray tan artist, and water your brainworm.
Suzanne also goes toe-to-toe with her own trolls, who she says tend to recycle conservative talking points.
This guy said something like, you set the bar so low you can't even define what a woman is. Because they love going back to that what is a woman question. Women are the people who cross the street when they see you walking by. Women are the people who cover your drink when they see you around them at a bar.
As a former Republican herself,
I was president of Young Republicans in high school. I campaigned for Romney when I was in college, right?
Suzanne says her views evolved.
Something really special happens when you step outside of a world you've always known and you're introduced to different viewpoints and perspectives.
And as Democrats remain stoic against brazenly offensive rhetoric, Suzanne's anger evolved too.
I was pissed. And I was pissed that all I was seeing was love and tolerance and peace, and I think especially they now love throwing that in our faces as an insult. So anytime we get slightly how they perceive to be out of line, they can just say, oh, well, I thought you guys were the piece of the party of tolerance.
For Democrat officials to incite violence and encourage Americans to take to the streets is incredibly alarming, and they should be held accountable for that rhetoric.
Like, well, we're not. We're actually not. We don't tolerate hatred. We don't tolerate a lot of the things that y'all do.
Suzanne thinks it's especially important for Democrats to change their tone as Trump rolls out his agenda over the next 4 years.
I think they've only grown more confident, only grown more unabashedly, hateful towards different groups. We're already seeing them doing unprecedented things to the Constitution, shipping people away, calling people slurs, erasing people's entire identities, and we're not going to be able to fight back by just preaching.
An old saying warns against fighting fire with fire, but Suzanne says there's a need to retaliate with the same ferocity.
I think that the only way to fight back is to match energies, and that's how I look at it.
That's why Suzanne created the MAGA makeup trend that's gone viral on TikTok. The concept came about after Suzanne noticed conservative women all doing their makeup the same way. Badly, that is.
Now I've got my driest mascara that I'm just gonna kind of make sure you get a little on the eyelids too, and don't clean it up, just for the full effect.
Nancy Mace is probably my most frequent burn book entry. There's so much to say about her. I mentioned her contour looking like the Scarecrow from The Wizard of Oz. When people call me mean, I'm like, okay, well, what's meaner? Making fun of someone's contour for not matching their undertones, or telling kids that they can't play sports? Like, let's play a game of which is meaner, and they're going to win.
With her follower count growing by the day, Suzanne's had an overwhelmingly positive response from her fellow Democrats. But there's always someone who wants to take down the plastics.
They'll write an entire thesis statement in my comments about why what I'm doing is wrong, and I've told them, it's really cool that you are in the running for Best Liberal. I think that's awesome. I love that you've decided that that's a competition that exists, and I applaud you as you run for that seat, but I am not in the running. I'm not trying to win that.
Suzanne thinks the fight back philosophy is catching on for some Democratic lawmakers.
I think that people are finally recognizing that we have to start doing something different because what we've been doing isn't working.
In the last Congress, Chairwoman Green literally showed a dick pic in our oversight congressional hearing, so I thought I'd bring one as well. Now, this, of course, we know is President Elon Musk. He's also the world's richest man. He was the biggest political donor in the last election.
I love Jasmine Crockett. She's an idol of mine.
I don't think you know what you're here for.
Well, you the one talking about.
I think your fake eyelashes are messing up.
No, ain't nothing. If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
What now?
Not only is she brilliant, obviously, and she gets things done, and she's funny, and she's good with words.
And as for the haters who try telling Suzanne she's contributing to an already divided political climate,
there's this misconception that if you don't like things and if you call them out on disliking them, then it means you're a deeply unhappy person. It brings a lot of joy, actually, to band together and make fun of people who are doing terrible things, or anyone who says it's sowing further division. What are you doing? Would you rather I just be silent?
Suzanne thinks humor helps band people together. It's also what makes lawmakers feel more like people than just politicians.
We're funny, we have humor, and I think humor is a super compelling way to engage audiences and also to change people's minds. It worked on me. A bunch of dorks sitting around a table in bad-fitting suits weren't gonna change my mind. What was gonna change my mind was being able to learn in a way where I felt safe to laugh